So today, today in Commissioner's Court, I said, please turn off all cell phones, and then right then somebody's phone rings, right when I said it.
I like to say pagers too, you know, because if a pager goes off and you didn't tell people not to, it's your fault.
That's only if you have firefighters in the room.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, some of them did. Oh,
Yeah.
pagers and firefighters still use pagers?
Volunteer.
Yeah, I gotta get warmed up.
Volunteer.
Sibilance. All right. I'll now call to order this meeting of the City of Whitehouse Council for today, April the 28th, 2026. It is 6 p.m. Ms. Nichols, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. James Wansley.
Here.
Zach Briscoe.
Here.
Francel Burns. Here. John Chambers.
Here.
Michael Lowe.
Here.
Matt Lassery.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Please stand if you're able and join Councilman Lazarine as he leads us in a word of prayer.
Dear Lord, I'm gonna keep this simple tonight. We have a bad storm system coming, into Texas right now, and just please watch over all of us, keep us safe, protect everybody, and thank you for everything you do for us every day. Amen.
Amen.
Please join the council in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Man, that sounded like one voice right there. That was amazing.
Yes, sir.
Please be seated. All right, we're going to jump into this. We're going to get as many of you out of here as quickly as we can before the hail gets here. Item number D1 is presentations from the Eagle Scout Project presentation by Ian Wharton. Mr. Wharton, please come on up and show us what you're thinking about doing. You state your name and address for the record. I'm sorry.
My name is Ian Wharton. I'm from 1025 West County Line Road, Troop, Texas. I am out of the Scout Troop in Whitehouse, Troop 359, and this is my Eagle Scout project proposal. My idea is for trail markers and quarter-mile markers or half-mile markers at Black Hawk Trail, because I've been hiking them. I've been hiking the trails there, and the signs aren't the best. I got lost a few times. I heard about an incident over Christmas where someone slipped and got hurt, and they couldn't really pinpoint where they were because there's no distance markers and the trail signs weren't very great.
Yes, sir.
I have sketches of what I want, and I've also drawn up price sheets if you guys would like to see those.
So while those go around, at what cadence would the markers be in there? Would it be every mile?
Quarter miles?
Quarter
Mile
mile?
marks, I think, just because they are shorter trails. So I feel like every quarter mile would be pretty good, or half mile.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually in my backyard when I saw the ambulance going back there, and I was wondering what the deal was, so.
I think I just saw a post the other day from Simpson's Bike and Sale where they were rounding up donors for businesses to put metal plaques on the posts out there. So you may actually find some funding through that opportunity as well.
I was talking to one of the people that ride the trails. His name's Mr. Swindell. He was mentioning that they were raising funding for doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. And then coordinating with our first responders to let them know where those mile markers are, and maybe get those geocoded and set up so that if they call for service, then they can locate them quickly.
I think Black Hawk Creek is a best kept secret. It's a wonderful place to ride bikes, and you can look at the alligator in the pond out there and all kinds of stuff.
I went out there, I think it was 2 days ago, and we saw a beaver in the little creek.
Oh, fantastic.
Beautiful place.
Be some good eating.
Any questions from council, from Mr. Wharton on this project?
So your total estimated price is $673. Have you already received any donations yet?
No, sir, I wanted to make sure I could get everything approved first.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if what the mayor was talking about, it may be something that you could actually partner with Simpsons. It'd help you with your project and maybe help you with some of your costs, so that's a good idea. Perfect, thank you.
All right, any questions or further discussion from council? All right, this is not an action item, right? We're just approving. So thank you for thinking of Whitehouse. Of course, you're 359, but from Troop, so thanks for looking at Whitehouse first for your Eagle Scout projects. We always appreciate these, and we look forward to an update when you
Sure do.
when you get it up. We'd love to see you here again and see some pictures of what it looks like, and make sure that you reach out to Mrs. Black to forward any type of donation requests that you have. We'd love to take part in helping you fund that. Give a little seed money.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of the council, I'm not saying the city, but yeah, personally.
I'll be glad to do it.
Thank you very much.
So,
Yes,
good
sir.
idea.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So those of you that were here when they pulled up, you're aware of motorcycles, but there's never enough awareness. So it's always great to come together this time of year and raise awareness for our motorcyclists that are out on the road. I think we all, at this point, I'm 50 years old. I know somebody that's been at least in danger while on a motorcycle, if not hurt or killed. So it's important that we raise awareness whenever we can. So we have a proclamation that we're reading here on behalf of motorcycle awareness. Whereas motorcycles are energy-efficient vehicles that are increasingly used as a mode of transportation in the United States due to the increased need to conserve fuel, reduce urban traffic, lessen parking congestion, and tread lightly on the overworked road system. And whereas motorcycles continue to be an important and economical mode of transportation involving such activities as commuting, touring, and recreation, and whereas motorcycling promotes tourism and friendship by attracting riders through various clubs and organizations from all over the world, and whereas motorcycles lack the protective armor of automobiles and trucks, which ultimately increase the chance of serious injury and death to the operator, all motorists need to be aware and utilize caution around motorcyclists. And whereas, due to the increased number of motorcycles on the road, it is appropriate to set aside the time to promote motorcycle awareness, safety, and respect to all vehicle operators. And now therefore I, James Wansley, Mayor of the City of Whitehouse, Texas, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 to be Motorcycle Awareness Month, and ask all citizens to join in a concerted effort in order to promote awareness, mutual respect, and safety to our roads. In witness whereof I've hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city to be affixed on the 28th day of April, 2026. Council, if you'd join me up front, and if the members of the motorcycle club would join us up front, we'd love to get a picture with you guys.
Get your motor running. That's right.
And this is the copy for you guys to take with you. Show that in the picture you can. Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And if y'all, get over, I'm short enough to get over here.
Take several.
And motorcycle.
Not pretty.
All right, thank you, man. Yeah, quick.
You can head right on.
So that little girl that was in here,
Ride,
was crying because she wanted to go back out to the playground, is my little girl, and I'm glad we do this because
Yeah.
I want to come home to her every night.
Amen.
So, sharing this proclamation, putting awareness out is needed. So, thank you. Appreciate it. And y'all get home before it falls out.
I got too old, I just couldn't do it anymore.
All right, we also have a proclamation for Whitehouse ISD Decision Day. I'm going to go through this real quick. This is for where the students present themselves to the faculty and staff and some of the parents there for the decisions that they made to pursue secondary education, workforce, or military. All right, whereas the City of Whitehouse is committed to supporting the educational attainment, workforce readiness, and the long-term success of its students and community, and whereas Decision Day is a national celebration recognizing high school seniors as they declare their post-secondary plans, including enrollment in college and universities, technical training programs, military service, and entry into the workforce. And whereas Decision Day events provide an opportunity to celebrate the achievements, aspirations, and hard work of students while reinforcing a culture that values all pathways to career and life success. And whereas these celebrations also highlight the importance of collaboration among schools, families, higher education institutions, employers, and community organizations in supporting student success and strengthening the regional workforce. And whereas the Tyler Area Business Education Council, Whitehouse ISD, and community partners work together to ensure students are equipped with the knowledge, skills, and opportunities needed to thrive in a competitive and evolving economy. Now therefore, I, James Wansley, Mayor of the City of Whitehouse, do hereby proclaim Friday, May the 1st, 2026 to be Whitehouse ISD Decision Day 2026 in the City of Whitehouse. Thank you.
The cool part is also on Friday, May the 1st, they're having a job fair at the high school, so I know everybody from the sheriff's office to other
Oh, excellent.
civilian trained, they'll have all kind of people there to, and get applications, talk about what they're interested in, so.
Awesome. All right, we have a few proclamations for things that involve the city, so it's my honor to read these out loud as well. This one, the first one that I'm reading here is National Police Week 2026. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement serving in the communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Whitehouse Police Department. And whereas since the first recorded death in 1786, more than 24,500 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., and whereas 363 new names of fallen heroes are added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 109 officers killed in 2025 and 254 officers killed in the previous year. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund 38th Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2026. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the National Police Week, which will be observed this year, May 11th through the 16th. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of the fallen officers and their families, and U.S. flags should be flown at half-staff. Now therefore I, James Wansley, Mayor of the City of Whitehouse, Texas, do hereby proclaim the City of Whitehouse will observe May 11th through 16th, 2026 as Police Week in Whitehouse, and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in all communities across the nation. Those numbers are staggering.
Yes, they are.
All right. We also have a Public Works Week in 2026. So the proclamation reads, whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, emergency management, and services that are vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, and the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the City of Whitehouse. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are federally mandated first responders, and the engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for building, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Whitehouse to gain knowledge and maintain ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works, first responders, and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now therefore I, James Wansley, Mayor of the City of Whitehouse, do hereby proclaim the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 to be National Public Works Week. Accordingly, I recognize the substantial contributions of our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees make to protect our national health, safety, and quality of life. Thank you. All right, and last but not least, we have a Building Public Safety Month 2026 as well. Proclamation reads, whereas the city of Whitehouse recognizes that the safety, reliability, and resilience of its homes, buildings, and infrastructure are essential to the well-being of the community, and whereas this resilience is supported by the work of the building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, contractor, tradespeople, and other construction professionals who ensure structures are dedicated and built in accordance with established standards, and whereas many of these professionals are members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit organization that develops and promotes model codes and standards used to safeguard the built environment, and whereas modern building codes incorporate measures to reduce risks associated with natural hazards, including severe weather, fire, flooding, and other events, and whereas Building Safety Month, sponsored by the International Code Council, serves to increase public awareness of the role of code officials and the importance of safe, sustainable, and affordable construction. Whereas the 2026 theme, Built to Last, highlights the importance of the resilient construction practices, workforce development and building safety, disaster mitigation, energy efficiency, and water resource management. And whereas Building Safety Month provides an opportunity to recognize the ongoing efforts of local, state, and federal agencies in protecting life, property, economic stability through effective building practices. Now therefore I, James Wansley, Mayor of the City of Whitehouse, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Building Safety Month. Accordingly, I recognize the substantial contributions that these dedicated professionals make to protect our homes, building, and infrastructure.
That's the most whereas I've been a long time.
Well, we're done now, so it's where it was, not whereas. All right, so next up is a presentation of a donation by Republic Services to the City of Whitehouse Fire Department. No, sorry. A presentation of a donation by Smith County Sheriff to the City of Whitehouse Police Department by Paul Robeson. I'm sorry, I got ahead of you, Mr. King. Chief Robeson.
Mayor and council, as y'all know, we have a gun range that is, I was sitting there thinking, probably 3 times a week is not even enough to guess. I would say probably more like 4, if not 5 times a week being used, and that can be 200 plus times a year. It kind of seems like a small thing, but this is a big thing, especially when you're over 50 and you're having to reach down and pick up 100 pieces of brass. It gets a little rough on you.
Or 1,000.
Or thousands, right? And oftentimes there's as many as 50 per person, and it just adds up, and it takes time. And Smith County Sheriff's Office was gracious enough to purchase 2 of these for us, approximately $1,300 that we didn't have to spend, and is well worth it for all the people that are out there using it. So we're very grateful for the donation. Councilman Lazarine helped make that happen, so very grateful for that.
Chief, can you talk about who all uses that range?
Everybody.
I mean, Sheriff's Office, Secret
literally,
Service.
Federal agencies.
It's everybody that you can think of comes into our lobby to use it. Every law enforcement agency in this area, and it's even we have some of Tyler PD will come down and use it. They'll do SWAT training at times, or we've got the county, we have our troop.
U.S. Marshals.
We'll even have the school district for their people. Jacksonville will come up, Lindale. We have the only one of 2 gun ranges in this area, and they're busy. And if we didn't have 2, it would be really difficult to get training in.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of rounds being shot out there.
Yeah, we were out there for 2 weeks with the Sheriff's Office, and if it hadn't been for that, we would have had to wait to do our quals until July.
Yep.
And that's not a fun time to be doing firearms calls. So.
We're always about 6 weeks out if you want to get on the schedule. So it stays busy. So we're grateful for it, and very unusual for a city this size to be able to have something like that.
Excellent.
Again, thank you for helping.
Smith County SO.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman, for putting that together. Thank you, Chief.
But,
All right, I'm icing the kicker. Number 8 is a presentation of a donation by Republic Services to the City of Whitehouse. I'm getting choked up. Fire Department by Mr. Gene Keenan.
Mayor, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to have somebody help me see if there's a national trash collector week.
There is.
We kinda, I may be missing out. It's
it's like the week after Christmas, I think, when you have to throw.
Yeah.
Well, we're too busy to accept anything that way, for sure. Mayor, Council, I'm Gene Keenan, Clear Public Services, and I'm here to present the annual, first responder, check, that we like to give out. It alternates between police department and fire department. We believe that, you need to have happy first responders, and this is money that they're allowed to spend on things that they know they can't put in the budget because you won't approve it. So, this is for them to be able to buy challenge coins, coloring books, things like that. Not fire hoses or bullets, but, things like that. So, anyway. Yeah, best friends, yeah. Anyway,
Thank you so much.
we're glad to do it. Yes, sir, there you go.
How much?
Thank you, Jim.
Oh, it's 500.
Thank you, Republic. Best hot dogs in the county.
I think I've been on council for going on 8 years now, and it's been every year, so thank you very much.
And the
I'm
cool
shy
part,
about photos, though.
the cool part is they don't do that just here, they do it in a bunch of different cities.
As far as the hot dogs?
No, as far as these donation checks.
Yeah, I couldn't hear.
Yeah, y'all have a number of cities you
A lot of our contracts.
You guys act excited about the hot dog.
I can't hear those background noise.
All right, that's all the items under D, right? Yes, we're on to item E, which is community interest. We have a couple of items of community interest here before you, Mrs. Black.
Mayor and council, as you all know, we're kicking off our comprehensive plan work, and we did send a postcard to all of our utility customers with the QR code to the survey that is up until about the middle of May. And we will be hosting a community meeting to gather input on that on May 7th from 5:30 to 7:30. It's come and go. The team at HAF has done a great job of putting together a really neat theme and walk through that process so that we can gather really meaningful input that will shape what our community looks like over the next 20 to 30 years. So it's really important that the community shows up and provides input on that process.
My wife got one of the cards, she goes, fill this out, I go, I've already filled it out, they wanna hear from
Show it to
you.
the camera, Councilman Lowe, show it to the camera. There it is.
And then we did have a meeting with Climate Vision last week about the weather radar. They are still waiting on timing for their federal funding before they can move forward with that project. But my understanding is that as of right now, that is the only step that they are waiting on before they can move forward with the process. So we continue to wait and push them a little to hopefully get that installed just as soon as we can for nights like tonight so that we can have that important weather information.
Did they give you any idea on timing?
They do not have any idea on timing.
What's-
It has been approved in the federal omnibus bill, they're just waiting on.
For funds to be released.
So it is a done deal with funds.
It has been approved.
Good.
In the omnibus bill.
Okay.
But the funds have not yet been released.
And we haven't put any money towards this, the county hasn't put any money towards this. It's not like we got money out there waiting for it to happen, it's just waiting for it to
Yeah,
happen.
we're just letting them
It
use
would be
ours.
such a wonderful thing for the county in this area.
The only complicating factor is that tower needs to be painted, isn't that right? It needs
No.
some work done.
Does it?
And,
It will, yes.
and once that work starts, it will last for 1 month, 2 months?
Oh, it depends on whether we need to do interior and exterior or just one or the other, but it's probably at least 90 to 120 days depending on which one they need to do.
Okay.
So worst case scenario, we're 2 days into our project, they get the money, and now they have to wait 90 days for us.
So
But-
we do not yet have that project budgeted, it's not on our timeline just yet. I just don't want them to put it up and then 18 months later, we're taking it out of service.
I
for
mean,
any length of time.
all jokes aside, have we asked them, like, how complicated it is to take it down if we had to? If it's a year from
So
now?
that's one of their requirements is for them to,
handle
on
that
our
part.
notice, they have to either make safe, take it out of service, protect it, whatever that is, whether it's
Okay.
take it down or just protect it as a part of that process.
I think they could just protect it up there on top and
I
paint
hope
around
so,
it.
particularly if it's just an interior job, but
Right, right.
that's their product and their
Right.
responsibility. We just wanna make sure they're aware of it.
Okay. Any more questions on that? Anything else to add on the subject of community
Yes.
interest? What you got?
All the churches in this city, all denominations are so important to our community. And guys, ladies, I invite you to go to the food pantry at the Methodist Church. I got a tour the other day, and I tell you what, it is impressive. To be honest with you, I never have checked it out in the 6 years I've been on the council, but it's truly got a personal tour the other day, and it's great. think that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Graduations this month, it'll probably happen before we have another meeting, right?
May
Is it 22nd?
22nd, I believe.
Yeah, so be prepared for that, it's coming.
I think it's on that invite.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah, lots of kids starting a new chapter in their life, towards the end of this month.
Welcome to life.
All right, anything else on the subject of community interest? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. There are 2 items on the consent agenda today for your consideration. One is the approval of the minutes of the joint planning and zoning city council meeting on March the 17th, 2026, and city council meeting on March 25th, 2026. The other one is our quarterly investment report. If neither of these items are desired by council to be moved on to the regular agenda, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the consent agenda passes. On to item G. Other action items, ordinances, resolutions, and public hearings. Number 1 is a public hearing discussion, consideration, and recommendation on ordinance 26-0428-01, high-risk commercial use, amending the City of Whitehouse combined zoning ordinance by establishing regulations governing high-risk commercial uses, including vape shops, credit access, which is payday auto title, business and skilled game business. And here to present is Mr. Jake Hooter. Do we want to do an opening presentation and then go into public hearing, or directly into public hearing?
I think if we'll let Mr. Hooter start, I think that will help with some background before we head into the public hearing.
Okay, Mr. Hooter, take it away, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item was presented to Planning and Zoning and forwarded to City Council for consideration. Since that meeting, staff has identified a procedural requirement to provide a mailed notice to all affected property owners at least 10 days prior to the first public hearing. Because the notice was not issued in advance of the first public hearing, staff recommends tabling formal action until next month to ensure full compliance. However, a public hearing will still need to be held this evening. In the meantime, staff is seeking council's direction on how you would like us to proceed so we can refine the ordinance accordingly prior to bringing it back for action. So far, we have 2 options. Option 1 is to adopt the ordinance as written and allow existing businesses to continue operating as legal non-conforming uses. The new businesses must comply with the new ordinance as it is written. Option 2 is to establish an amortization period requiring those businesses to either come into compliance within a defined time frame or discontinue operations. If the city requires an existing legal non-conforming use to cease operations, the city may be required to provide compensation or allow continued operation until the owner recovers their investment. This includes costs directly related to stopping the use and potential loss of market value. Additionally, property owners have the right to choose their remedy, and the decisions related to the valuation can be appealed and subject to judicial review. Because these requirements, option 2 introduces additional legal and financial considerations that would need to be evaluated in coordination with the city attorney. This being said, the following was presented to Planning and Zoning. The City of Whitehouse has experienced increased interest in certain commercial uses that may create heightened secondary impacts, including vape shops, credit access businesses, and skilled gaming establishments. These uses have been associated in other communities with compatibility concerns near residential areas, increased calls for service, and impacts to vulnerable populations. As a home rule municipality, the city has the authority to regulate land use to protect public health, safety, and general welfare. The proposed ordinance establishes a framework to manage the location and operation of these uses through a specific use permit process, including spacing, operation, and performance standards. This approach does not prohibit these businesses, but ensures they are appropriately located and operated in a manner consistent with surrounding development and the city's comprehensive plan efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Hooter. All right, let's go ahead and transition into the public hearing. The time is 6:29, and we will stop the regular agenda and enter into public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this matter during the public hearing. You don't have to have signed up ahead of time to speak on it. You can come and speak now if you'd like. Going once, going twice. All right, with no one wanting to speak, the time is still 6:29. I'll go ahead and close the public meeting. We'll return to regular council meeting. And this is the part where council discusses any action or direction we want to give to council. They've asked that we table this motion because it wasn't given sufficient notice for what they're planning to do. So what they're looking for is when this matter comes before us again, what direction would we like to go in putting something in place and maybe enforcing it?
So the way I read the option one is basically any existing business that falls under this type can stay in place. No new
Kind of
ones,
grandfathered in.
grandfathered in. No new ones could come in, they're within 1,000 feet of another business that's similar, or 1,000 feet of a school. Or it has to be in also the commercially zoned area that's approved. And then the other option would be to basically say we're banning this in Whitehouse, there's a certain period of time, and then it could incur us legal cost and financial cost for them to recoup.
That's correct.
Okay.
And option one covers that any permits that are requested have to be approved by us, correct?
Yes.
And then something that I also wondered, like, I know a lot of vape shops sell stuff that's, for all intents and purposes, THC, but I didn't see any of that language in here as far, because I know like City of Tyler approved medical cannabis and all that.
So
With this,
the medical use falls under completely different
Okay.
standards and regulations, and so we were trying to move forward with what we have
Right,
now.
okay.
So no, it does not address the medical use part of it.
okay,
Have we heard from the attorney at all on this matter, like, as far as like incurring costs if we do in fact?
So we've been having some back and forth conversations with him, and the next step, if you wanted us to further pursue that option, would be for us to understand the process of how that works and how you would go about with that estimate of costs. This is fairly new legislation. It was passed in 2019, I believe, and so I've not been through a process that has done this before. So it is a little unique in how you determine what the loss of market value is, what the cost to the business is. And again, they have the right to choose which remedy, whether it's.
I would prefer to, like me personally, not that I speak for all of council, but I would prefer to have more discussion with the attorney
Okay,
to figure out what our exposure is in that option, because that's the path that I would lean toward.
okay.
Would be option two.
No, the one where you don't allow it to be grandfathered.
That's two.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Completely
Yeah,
eliminate.
yeah, eliminate.
I'm leaning towards option one.
I'm leaning towards option one too. Option one.
Right.
Option
So it's a
two
grandfather.
seems there's just a lot of wild cards there.
That's why I asked. for
Right,
the-
oh yeah, I'd like to hear it too, you know, what,
Because
Yeah, we can do some more research.
I'm not a fan of vape shops, but the ones that are already in place, been approved, they follow the rules, get there. And I know I talked to City of Bullard, they have basically the option one that we have already in place in Bullard, so we wouldn't be breaking any new ground with it.
Do I don't know of any payday auto title place here. So maybe it's just vape shops. Do we have any skilled gaming businesses here?
Not in the city limits.
I think we have one
Not
right
currently,
outside,
Not yet.
but
We
okay.
have had some interest though.
So I'm just trying to wrap my head around who would be impacted, even with option one. Of the shops that we have here, do you know which ones are non-conforming with what we're?
All of the current ones would be non-conforming.
All
most
the
likely.
Really?
Okay.
I thought it would only be one.
Right.
That's my understanding, all of them.
all the vape shops.
Yeah.
Would not conform with option one or option two.
With either option, the way the ordinance is currently written,
Right.
they would all be considered non-conforming use.
But they would be grandfathered in.
If we chose option one, I'm just trying to figure out who's
Okay.
impacted by.
I thought it
Okay.
was only
If we
the one.
chose option one, all current vape shops that are currently operating could continue to operate until such time as they had a change in ownership, change of location. There are several other provisions that would trigger
Okay.
that use, if they are out of business for so long, if they closed for so many months, then that triggers that the use is no longer
What is it they're in violation of? Is it proximity to
Probably the schools or church.
Sorry, schools, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah, some information from the attorney on what option 2 would look like. We know what option 1 would look like, they would all stay.
Good point.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? I think that's the only action on this item is just direction to staff. The motion needs to be made to table this item, I think, formally. So if I could get a motion to table so that we're compliant.
I'll make a motion to table this until the next meeting.
I'll second.
All right, so motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of tabling this item, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. All right, this item will be tabled. We'll see that on our future agenda item section that's coming later. Thank you, Mr. Hooter. All right, item number 2 is another public hearing. It's discussion, consideration, and recommendation on ordinance 26-0428-02 to revise section 21.7 of the City of Whitehouse Combined Zoning Ordinance to ensure consistency with state law regarding home-based businesses. Again, Mr. Hooter, I'm sorry, I thought you were leaving. He's coming back up here. Mr. Hooter.
Yes, sir. Recent changes to state law, including House Bill 2464, limit how municipalities may regulate home-based businesses. The city's current ordinance requires updates to ensure compliance with these statutory requirements. The proposed amendment revises section 21.7 of the combined zoning ordinance to align with state law while maintaining the city's ability to address potential nuisance impacts such as traffic, noise, and safety concerns. These updates are intended to provide clarity for residents and ensure the city's regulation remains enforceable and consistent with state requirements. The proposed ordinance has been reviewed and approved by the city attorney, and if approved tonight, we have a dynamic guide and application for the home-based businesses that will go live on the city website tomorrow.
Okay. Any questions from council? And this is basically us coming into alignment with what the state has asked us to do. I think it was a shall, actually. I don't think it was an ask. It's not a should, it was a shall.
So how would this affect somebody who had a Cincy business or a Mary Kay business?
They really just created the definition, no impact home-based business, so it doesn't increase traffic, noise, or any safety concerns in the
No,
neighborhood.
but
But it
So-
does require installation of a fire sprinkler system.
So,
Yeah.
That's what it says, section 2C.
Required, no provision of this ordinance shall be construed to. So A through C are things they
Okay,
don't
I'm
have to
sorry.
do. I was like, oh.
You're right,
no,
I
missed it.
misread that. I was like, what in the world?
Good eye.
Yeah, you can just use your water hose, your house catches on fire.
That's what I was like, what?
All right, any more questions or concerns on this item?
can you give me an example of, because I've never ran a home business. Can you give me an example of a business that would probably fall outside of this?
that would be a home-based business.
Yeah, because I think of the stuff like where you're selling Cincy. I think of that when I think of home-based business, but
Yeah,
That would be
that's
a no
better.
impact.
yeah, that's no impact.
Or they're baking cookies at
External
home.
impacts would be
Yeah.
high
Well,
traffic or.
Let's go with Tupperware parties, right? Because nobody does this anymore. But if you're having Tupperware parties in your home
Mhm.
2 times a month, that creates on-street parking,
Right.
increased traffic. That could be a home-based business that would be an impact to the neighborhood.
Yeah, if you had a drive-through.
I would think it would be a consistent impact, because that's really no different than a birthday party or.
Hazardous chemicals.
So do we know of any in Whitehouse this would be affected if we pass this?
We do.
Okay. Do we know how many are like that?
I don't. I do know that we'll have at least one.
I hear at least one. I feel like I'm singling somebody out when I pass off.
But that's not our intent in passing this. Our intent in passing this is to get current with what state law
Compliance with state
now
law.
requires. The one that I'm referring to, I'm only aware of because we received a complaint because of the impact.
So I think the state law was intended to have the opposite effect. I think some cities were locking down too much on home-based businesses, and we didn't really have anything. Now we're gonna have something, and there's gonna be like,
To allow us to act.
yeah,
Right, right.
well, to require us to act almost. We have to at least conform to their minimum standards, which is what they have here. So.
And at least it also tells you what a no impact home-based business is, so I like.
Yeah,
that
it's well
part.
defined.
Yes.
All right.
This is a public hearing.
Yeah, we have a quick matter of entering into a public hearing real quick. Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Hooter. So the time is 6:39. We'll close the regular council meeting and enter into a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Maybe those impacted are here? All right. Hearing none. The time is still 6:39. I'll go ahead and close the public meeting, public hearing, and we'll return to the regular council meeting. Any further discussion from council? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve ordinance 26-0428-02.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the motion carries. Item number 3 is discussion, consideration, and recommendation on ordinance 26-0428-04, permit fee scheduling, amending city schedule of rates, fees, changes related to zoning applications, plating, construction, plan review, building services, and other miscellaneous permits and services. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Jake Hooter.
You've been busy.
Yeah, get the steps in.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Yes, sir. The city of Whitehouse maintains a schedule of fees associated with development activity, including zoning amendments, plating, plan review, permits, and inspections. These fees were last updated through multiple ordinances adopted between 1996 and 2022. As development activity continues to increase, it is necessary to periodically evaluate and update the city's fee structure to ensure it reflects current administrative, legal, and operational costs. The proposed ordinance consolidates and updates these fees while maintaining consistency with the city's development review processes and service delivery. The questions and concerns that came out of the planning and zoning meeting were, number 1, can we break the variance fee into new development versus existing structure or hardship? Staff recommends doing this, new development variance fee being $350 and the existing structure hardship fee being $175. Number 2, there was a concern with the residential burn permit being too high. Staff recommends keeping the burn permit at $50 for 10 consecutive days to recoup administrative costs. Number 3, we may want to add the special event permit reflecting $0 to differentiate from the outdoor vendor permit, which is $100. Staff recommends defining special event permit. The special event permit is intended for organized, community-oriented activities that typically occur on public property or with public sponsorship. These events, such as farmers markets, festivals, and seasonal or civic gatherings, often involve multiple vendors or participants and are limited in duration. The primary purpose is to promote community engagement, recreation, or public benefit rather than individual commercial activity, and they are frequently coordinated or supported by the city, local organizations, or nonprofit groups. Staff recommends defining outdoor vendor permit as outdoor vendor permit is intended for individual commercial activity conducted primarily on private property. This permit applies to single vendors or small-scale operators such as those selling merchandise or other goods and is focused on direct commercial gain. While these activities may be temporary, they can occur on a recurring or semi-permanent basis and typically lack broader community event component. The permit ensures appropriate oversight and standalone retail activity occurring outside of a structured event setting.
So I have 2 questions. Number 1, I guess I've never had to burn leaves in my yard, but if you want to burn leaves in your yard, it's $50. You just have 10-day window in which to do it.
Yes, sir. 10 consecutive days.
And then my other question is, how do our fee schedules compare with others in the area?
So we compared with 6 cities. I had Tyler's compared in there on the attachment to this to kind of show where we're coming from, what we're proposing, and where we stand compared to Tyler. But we looked at 6 cities around us, and we found kind of the average. And if we were higher, we didn't increase much if we did, but we kind of found middle ground to come up with a fair new permit fee.
When's the last time we changed the fees?
I believe 2022.
Okay.
So they've been amended at the latest at 2022. I would say that most of those have been to come into compliance with state law and the changes that have come about in there. I don't know the last time that we took a comprehensive look at all of our permit fees and reviews. It's probably been 10 years at least.
And honestly, I wouldn't know what a fair fee would be for these things, so.
Yeah, I like the differentiation between somebody that's lived here for a while and their permit use, you know, being different than somebody that's a new, you know, kind of new building. I like that approach. That kind of helps.
Correct
so.
me if I'm wrong, but if you want to burn at your house and it's contained, that's perfectly legal. You don't need a fee.
Right, Councilman Biscoe. I mean, if it's a fire for
Campfires, yeah.
cooking, for warmth, for recreation, or for assembly of some sort, and it's in an okay approved container, it is fine. And what we're trying to discourage is just freelance,
Exactly.
organic burning of yard debris.
Burn leaves in a ditch, type stuff.
Encouraging responsible burning.
Backyard bonfire, not allowed.
I think the leaf burning is good, and I like the fee because it may address the fact that it's a serious thing. If you burn leaves inside the city limits, very important that you do it fair and very safely.
We don't permit burning of leaves, because we burn, it can be branches, it can be sticks, but grass clippings and leaves we don't allow because of the smoke it emits off. It
Okay.
causes a health hazard in the public.
Makes sense.
Yep, asthma.
It ruins my plans.
Glad you asked, right? Otherwise, he'd be out there knocking on your
I'm
door.
just kidding, Chief.
I can imagine most of your contractors don't like any fees, and the people building houses don't like fees, but do we ever get any feedback from them, like they go, oh, this fee ain't too bad, I was in this city the other day and it was horrible, or?
No.
I think it's pretty normal.
I wouldn't think so,
for there to
yeah.
be fees.
Ideally, it's close to break even. I mean, whatever it costs to go out and kind of inspect and
Right.
manage and stay educated and, yeah. I mean, there's a cost associated with enforcing fees, and that's kind of where we plan to be.
It looked really detailed and well thought out, so, I mean,
Yeah, you've been busy.
seems like you did your homework, so thank you.
All right, with this
Do you
item.
have anything else, or just?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reader. All right, any more discussion from council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 26-0428-04, amending the permit fee schedule.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. That the motion passes. We have a new schedule of fees. Item number 4 is public hearing, discussion, consideration, and action on ordinance 26-0428-03, updating the alcoholic beverage permitting process. Ms. Stephanie Nichols.
All right, so during the last legislative session, the state made changes to how cities can charge for alcoholic beverage permits. Any establishment that has already paid fees to operate to the Department of Health Services, the county, or public health districts can no longer be charged a local permit fee for that. Under our current ordinance, we only allow mixed beverage licenses for restaurants, which are regulated and permitted through those health services entities. Staff is recommending that we eliminate our permit fees for our alcoholic beverage permits. Essentially getting rid of the permits themselves. They will still have to get permits through TABC, but as far as our local permit, removing them, but retaining the alcoholic beverage certification fee, which is allowed by state, which we still charge now. It's 2 fees. There's a permit fee, there's a certification fee. The certification fee would remain because we're still doing the work to certify the alcoholic beverage permit for TABC.
Okay.
But the permit fee would go away. So that's required and submitted to TABC now. We'll continue to ensure that the businesses are operating in areas that are allowable and tracking the type of alcohol sales that are within Whitehouse. Eliminating those permit fees would reduce the amount of staff time that would be used to verify the businesses and verify whether or not they already paid to another entity or if they haven't, because we may have a gas station that hasn't paid that we could charge a permit fee to, but they would only sell beer and wine, so it's kind of convoluted now. And it also reduces the amount of time that they'd have to wait for their TABC permit if we can just streamline it.
You said they only sell beer and wine. Is liquor an option?
So, no, I'm saying like if
Just
it's a
a
gas station, we could still permit like a business like Berkshire's or the gas station that may or may not have paid to the county for another, or another health entity. We'd be able to charge them, but it's a $60 permit
I
fee.
see.
So it's not a whole lot of money that we would be losing from them. The only place that we do allow liquor sales is at a restaurant, which would automatically be out because they already have to get approval through.
Gotcha.
And that's a one-time fee, not a yearly fee, so what if it's already open?
So it can be, so you can charge an annual fee. There's some regulations through TABC and how often we can charge them, and
Okay.
they also don't enforce if they pay their fees locally or not, so we really have nothing to go on if they don't pay their fee to us. We don't have to okay it. Once we okay it the first time, TABC okays it year after year, once we certify it. So our best course of action is really to just keep that certification fee as we have been and continue on with that and cut the fee for the permit.
Sounds reasonable.
And this is a public hearing. We do need to open a public hearing for it
Yep.
also. But if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, I'll go ahead and, oh man, I missed the 49 this time. It is 6:50. I'll go ahead and close the regular council meeting and take us into public hearing on this matter. We're now in public hearing. Anyone excited about not having to pay for a alcohol permit? Perhaps one of these home-based businesses I'm hearing about? No? All right.
That would probably cause a traffic problem, so.
That would. All right, no one wants to speak, so the time is 6:51. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing, take us back to the regular council meeting. Any questions or comments from staff on this matter? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 26-0428-03, updating the alcohol beverage permitting process.
Second.
All right, I heard Mr. Briscoe first on the second. Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion passes. All right, that takes us down to item 5, discussion, consideration, and action on replacement of well 7 pump and motor.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we got Mr. T.J. Henderson.
Evening, Mayor's Council. Here to talk about well 7. We've currently been experiencing operational issues due to the aging equipment and declining water levels and needs of emergency repairs. The existing pump and motor is the original from the well, which was constructed in 2007. So due to the age of the well, we had failing check valves were one of the main consists that were found out during the inspection. And when they pulled the pump, it also had its bearings were real wore out, like they could literally move it with their hands. But being, I believe that'd be 19 years old, I could imagine the wear and tear on it from being used, I don't know, 10 to 12 hours a day. And the quote that was presented for from the drilling company was based on pump and motor replacement. We did research on a pump rebuild, but like I said, on the age of the pump, they compared the pricing of the parts, and the parts plus labor actually ran more for the rebuild than the new motor because they had to ship it to Houston.
Have we looked at the other one on Railroad, because it's about the same age?
That one, I'm basically gonna be putting that in for budget request next year because it was constructed the year before that one was.
Yeah.
So before we start getting into this situation, we're gonna try to get ahead of it.
Get ahead of it.
So this was a squeaky wheel, that's why it gets the kick.
Basically, yeah, we were having issues with the well tripping and we thought it was just because of the power. And one of my staff was out there and they noted they could hear that like the water was water hammering and that was due to the failing check valves.
Mayor and council, because this has the potential to create a water quality and water supply issue, staff did go ahead and approve the quote as an emergency expenditure. So we got it on the next available council meeting to get it in front of you. But well has already been
It's already
Released.
back in service.
So, just as a matter of transparency, we went ahead and moved forward, because it does create some water quality and water supply concerns when any of our wells are operating the way that one was.
Gotta have water.
I gotta say, when I was looking at the cost of drilling new wells, you know, and how much they cost, I was surprised how cheap replacing these major parts of the well was.
Well, and this was based off of only half the pipe was replaced. And most of that was just due to the threading, because they couldn't quite get it out, so they had to replace a few of the pipe. It wasn't a full pipe replacement. The full replacement with the pipe was still only $181,000. So we saved a little on the pipe, but not a drastic amount.
So I
Do we know
guess,
Do we know how bad the one on Railroad could be?
As of right now, the only thing I know of is that we're not having the same check valve issue, because we went over there to check that when it does turn off, and we weren't hearing the same, commotion that we were over on the south side.
And on these wells, it's not something that you can see above ground. It's a $10,000 to $20,000 expense just to pull them up out of the ground so that you can see the condition of them. So it's not something that you can check annually, that you'd want to check annually or even biannually because of the cost of pulling them up and out of service. So
It's like,
it's one of those things, you just run them until you can't and then get them fixed.
And based on their age, we've got our money's
Yes.
worth out of them.
yes.
well, at least with finding this one, we can budget for the other one this year.
We're gonna do our best.
Water isn't critical, it is absolutely necessary. You've got to have water, sir.
All right. Well done. Is there any action on this? Sorry?
You said well done, but see what you did there.
Well,
Wasn't even on purpose.
Do we make the motion today?
yeah.
All right, yeah, this is an action item. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve replacement of the pump and motor for well number 7 and authorization to proceed with Russell Drilling Company Incorporated in the amount of $159,397.70.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Well, that's nice. Mr. Anderson didn't have to write us a check for the well he replaced.
Thanks, TJ.
All right, item
Thank
number
you, sir.
6 is discussion, consideration, and action on renewal of a multi-sector general permit and wastewater treatment plant permit. Mr. Henderson again.
So, Mayor and Council, we, are coming up on our expiration on our wastewater treatment plant permit and MSGP, which is for basically our stormwater side on the sewer plant. And it's basically a 5-year contract, permit, so we have, contracted with HAF to help us with the renewal. This year is just a renewal, so we don't have to do the lab testing this year, but then on the next 5-year count, we will have to predict for the, additional cost for that. And the total cost for the work from HAF will be $54,000 with an additional not to exceed amount of $2,000 for direct expenses.
And can you describe what goes into this? Is it kind of an audit, like professional services mostly?
Basically, what they will do is go through everything that we've done for the last year, because I gave them the one from the last 5 years, and they'll just basically compare everything. If anything has changed, which nothing has changed in our, they'll look at our capacity, any chemical fees that we use, which everything is still the same. So it'll basically be them just going through, making sure everything's within regulations and going from there.
Is this something that we'll budget moving forward?
Yes, sir.
Is that reasonable and customary, the number that they quoted? You feel like it's good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, this is a process of working with TCEQ that exceeds staff's
Yeah.
ability and expertise for sure. As you can imagine, taking sewage and turning it back into water is a highly regulated process and not something that we want to mess up. So we appreciate HAF being willing to partner with us to prepare the documents and all the required materials for TCEQ.
What was unsaid was well said. Any more questions for staff before we take a vote? Any questions for Mr. Henderson? All right, thank you, sir. I think your time here is done. All right. If no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve task order 16 with Half Associates in the amount of $54,000 plus direct expenses not to exceed $2,000 for WWTP discharge and stormwater permit renewal services and authorization for the city manager to execute all necessary documents.
I'll second.
All right, so motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. With that, the motion carries. Item number 7 is consider future agenda items. We have one tabled item that will appear before you next time. Anything else?
Do we need to look at expanding the shooting range at some point? Based on the activity it's getting, is it?
The cop in me is like, yeah.
I would say not at the moment. It would take some significant work to make it.
It'd be 2 stories like Top Golf, I think. You have to-
I know, Zach.
Concession stand.
One of the things I brought up before is, because we've had complaints about noise, and that range is not covered, that when it's hot down in that bowl, it is even hotter. And so putting an awning over there would be helpful, and, we've looked at prices, and they've been around 100,000 or less. So it's not cheap for sure. I will say that would cover just the pistol range. It wouldn't cover all the way back to the rifle range, 100 yards back. But it would help with sound. It would help keep guys cool. At the Tyler range, they have theirs covered. They have these big fans. They have lights that they can turn on and do night shooting or low light shooting at night. So there are some things like that from a cop standpoint, I think would be very beneficial. It's just whether it's cost effective for the council to consider.
From a city manager perspective, it's something we'd want to talk about, because there are so many regional partners that use that. I don't necessarily feel that the city should bear the full cost of that. And that's something Councilmember Lasry and I have talked about, and how we could work together to make something like that feasible. But I think the chief has a budget request in his budget for this upcoming year, so we can talk about that further as a part of our budget meeting.
And Chief, have you talked with, I went to Conroe PD's training facility for some training a while back, and it is amazing. I know a lot of that was built with like Hurricane Rita money afterwards, but I mean, I would think our federal partners, as much as they use it, could be a
Said that many a time.
There's time.
Right. There's high-end FBI that use that. Yeah. So I'm thinking anything that both, provides comfort and also dampens the sound, because those trails are gonna be there for who knows how long, for some time to come. The shooting range is gonna be there for some time to come. So especially like mixed-use type arrangements, they sound great.
Anything we can do for sound attenuation is great.
All right, so that's,
Ms. Nichols has a list of what we have for our upcoming agenda here, if you'd like.
I forgot how we got on that subject.
Talking about, I think you're talking, future agenda items.
Yes, okay. Awesome.
So we have Christmas on Main discussion about some decorations that we may want to be purchasing. Forestdale Park bids will be in by then. We'll have a municipal complex concept plan at that meeting. Some updates on the YCC, and then that tabled item that you mentioned. So good meeting.
Yeah, that one's already packed. I don't think there's room for anything else on there. If you could throw in 5 proclamations, that would be awesome. Other than that,
Okay.
sounds
Yeah,
great.
we had some themes going tonight, public hearings and proclamations.
That's right, mixing it up.
I got a couple of things.
Yes, sir.
First off, the depression in the library parking lot. I promised them that I'd bring it up tonight. I hope we can do something to help with the depression in the parking lot, which is holding water.
They're on our list for hot mix,
Good, that's
along
good
with
enough.
several others.
The code red, I talked to Miss Black and she kind of helped me. I'm elderly considered. And this code red is very important, especially for the elderly, And if it's not functioning right, I mean, I had a problem with I lost it, I had it, and I lost it, and we couldn't figure out how to get it back, even with Miss Black's help, because I'm not very computer savvy. So maybe we can look at something that will work in the future.
We're currently researching alternatives.
Yeah, I know. I just want to make it
Can you
public.
describe what that is? What is code red?
It's weather alert.
It's a weather alert on your telephone that
Oh,
you can be
right.
notified. When it works, it's great.
I don't get the text anymore.
The Smith County uses something,
Brave Mobile,
okay. And
that's what we're looking at.
And I get those alerts.
And I appreciate it, Ms. Black. I really do. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Sounds like we're on top of it.
Yep.
Fantastic. Anything else for future agenda items? All right. Tonight's actually gonna be a good test of Code Red. We'll see if it comes through. H is administrative reports. We'll try to get through these pretty quickly. Speaking of that,
It's in Thailand right now, the storm is.
I think we might be it showed like we're a circle that's not, like surrounds, oh lordy. Okay,
Is
that's
it
a lot
going
of red.
southeast? Okay.
I'm good on the
We're good?
reports if y'all are.
You don't
Yeah,
see the
it's like
fire, you don't see
surrounding
the
us.
fire
It
chief
looks like
going
it's
out where I
surrounding
am.
us, right?
When
Yeah,
the fire chief gets concerned,
That
we
was,
get
hey, that's
concerned.
that prayer right there.
that's right. That's an open prayer.
Got it, brother.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, somebody pray for our reports to come up, because Mrs. Black loaded them ahead of time. just to
I
make
did,
sure.
I tried. They're right here on my screen.
Oh, wow. So Weather Channel radar is not working.
I know.
That's because it's not on top of our water
The
tower.
water tower's small.
I mean, seriously, that's a big problem.
It's all disconnected.
Y'all wanna look at them?
No,
I'm
it's
good
not.
on
It's just not
reports if
recognizing.
y'all are.
Yeah, I've already looked at all the reports, huh?
Yeah, did you all have any questions on the reports? They're available.
Thank you for being gracious to me.
They are available.
Prefer that we didn't all get wet.
Yep.
If we can help it.
There was a change recommended last council meeting for the city center membership that now shows the number of badges. You'll see that number is going up, upwards of 30% per month, so that's great. I saw that we had 6 assaults last month. Kind of all at once. Was that a gang fight? We got some Jets and Sharks stuff going on here.
Made her stab it.
Somebody's dinner club had a ruckus. All right.
Hey, to make that comment though, the city manager notifies us when major stuff like that happens, and I called her, I said, it says a lot about our city that when a stabbing happens, we all get noticed. Most cities, that's just another day.
Right.
So,
We won't talk about Shreveport.
All right. I think that's it. So any questions on the reports or the financial statement? No? All right. Well, that leads us into executive session, of which we have none, so we won't do item J, which is reconvene. That takes us to item K, adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed can stay here. The time is 7:06 and we are adjourned.
Maybe safe.
I didn't mean to open the can of worms for you.